Hey, hello everybody. It is Dr. Steve Hoffman back with another episode of Core Wellness TV. Today, we are going to go through a real live case study. We'll call her Tabby, right? Her name's not Tabby, but I didn't get permission to give her a name, so we'll call her Tabby, who came in with headaches and a very forward-drawn posture, very inward, palms actually facing backwards when she stood, breath really coming up into her shoulders whenever she breathed. And we're going to show you the progression I took her through to help her. Basically, we're about 80%. It's only been a week and a half or so. But I'm going to go through that progression with you and then show you some tips and unlikely places where sometimes you can be overloading your neck and creating headaches just by the way you move your hips. And that's what we're going to get to. And so it's very interesting and very important. And we're going to teach you exactly what to do to avoid that. But before we do that, of course, every episode of Core Wellness TV is sponsored by the Core Wellness Institute. And that is my online course that I have created that combines my 17 years worth of treating people with all kinds of pain syndromes imaginable and coming to the realization that 80%, a solid 80% of these problems are corrected just by correcting very predictable yet reversible muscle imbalances that are brought on by stress in our sedentary lifestyle called crossed posture syndrome. So it's the Core Wellness Institute training course and coaching program designed to reverse CPS now. It is the physical piece where we teach you the exact exercises I bring people through. We teach you the details of how to do things correctly so you don't make mistakes and make things worse. And we give you nice little mini circuits to make it easy for you to do on a daily basis so it doesn't consume all of your time. And then, of course, we have the therapeutic lifestyle action guides in there for mindset, movement, and nutrition. It's not all about the way we move. It's also about what we eat and also about the way we think. So it's all encompassing, very comprehensive. And as of today, November 5th, within the next week, we'll be closing it, and the price is going to be going up because I've been continuing to add to it since it started in 2010. So we'll be closing, and the price will be going up. So it's a great time. If you've been thinking about it and you've been watching me for a while and you know that I've been putting this out there, it's a great time to jump on it before the price goes up, okay? So that is it. Now, on to the content today. So Tabby comes in, headache. And of course, like I said, everything's rolled forward, and we find out that, yes, we start poking around in her suboccipital muscles up here and her upper trapezius muscles in here. We find trigger points that recreate the headache. Okay, so this is good. We know this is not a sinister headache. This is a musculoskeletal headache. And it just came on like the last couple of weeks, and I said, that's what happens, is that after a while, you can only walk around with that posture so long and those movement patterns so long until your body gives you a signal, hey, let's take this the other direction. For her, it was headaches, right? So the first thing it did, of course, for her was open up her front, right? We opened up her chest, opened up her pec muscles. And then, of course, I did the soft tissue work and opened that up. And then, of course, I didn't just do that and send her on her way. She got the foam roll, right? So she gets the foam roll and she starts doing her foam angels, which is in the Fundamentals series. If you've been following me and you're subscribed to the blog, you know what the foam angel looks like, where you just lay on the foam and basically you open up your chest while keeping your back support zone connected and all that good stuff. All right. That's the first thing we did, is we sent her home with the foam roll. What was so funny is the day after we treated her, there was no headache the whole day. Okay? And this has been chronic headaches, for a solid 2-3 weeks, right? But she's found out that whenever the headache started to creep back, she'd lay on her foam roll and it would go away almost within seconds. So this is very, very common. So if you have stress and tension headaches, please do the foam roll, right? Get on the foam roll. And if, let's see, I don't know if I can, I don't want to get up here. Let me see if I can do this. Demonstrate it up here. Don't try this at home, right? We're on it basically like this, and we are keeping our back support zone connected, and slowly bringing our arms overhead and opening up the chest. Careful, Stephen. And that was progression number 1. Open her up. And of course, that same day we also taught her the push-away phenomenon, which is imagining pushing away from support points automatically brings your posture into the place it was designed to go without feeling like you have to think, okay, shoulder blades, back pocket, all that kind of stuff. Just imagine pushing away from support points and just practice that and practice breathing low into your center. Day 1. All right, headaches 80% better. Boom. Great. Cool. Now, she comes back in, the next time is still great, doing great, no headaches. And then, here's the kicker, this is where the hips come in. She comes in and she said, we did like she's a big hiker. She did like 6-7 miles of a hike. And towards the end of the hike, she started developing a headache again. And I thought, aha, so it's not like she was, lifting things and doing a lot of stuff with her upper body during the hike. She was doing a lot of what? Of walking. So I said, you know what? Let's look at your hip function, and specifically your hip extension pattern, because I've got a hunch. And here's what we did. We put her on the table and move us a little closer up here so you can see just a little bit better. We laid her down, and this is actually Yanda's hip extension test. He did 6 main movement patterns, and hip extension was one of them because he liked to see what exactly, and you put a person through a specific movement, and certain things should happen in that movement, and if they don't, we can call it dysfunctional. All right? So it's a snapshot of a movement process. So what I did, my microphone is going to get kind of scratchy here, but we lay her down like so, right? And basically, you just lift a leg up into the air. And you watch what happens. Normally, you should see the glute should activate, the hamstring should activate, and then the opposite side, and some natural progression of things you would expect, okay? With her, I was palpating her suboccipitals. Let me move this a little bit. I was palpating her here, and when she lifted her leg, boom, I felt her neck muscles activate whenever she lifted her hip. Okay? So she was that's considered a very dysfunctional hip extension pattern. Okay? So I said, okay, it looks like the overload in your neck and head is not only from your upper quarter, it's coming from the way you extend your hip. So what do? We get some more movement into the front of her hip and teach her a good hip extension pattern. So what's a great way to teach a good hip extension pattern than the push-away lunge? This is also in the fundamentals series. And the other point about this is it's very important that these exercises are done with perfect form, relatable back to fundamental neurodevelopmental principles. And what I mean by that is this. I showed her, okay, let's get a nice wide stride, okay? Nice wide stride, and immediately, when you get into a wide stride, what happens is your pelvis tends to want to tilt forward, okay? And she started doing her lunge like this, but she did it with her pelvis tilted forward. And I said, okay, no. Let's back up. Remember what we taught. Oh, I skipped a step, actually. Remember when on the second visit, we talked about learning how to press away and learning how to do this maneuver so she can feel how in neural, it's like this is around a 3.5 month, I believe that's correct, position where baby is on its elbows, it pushes away from its elbows, and the other point of support is where? The pubic bone in the front. So this is a fundamental, and I've talked about this before. You can Google the pubic bone secret, and you can hear more about this. But she got that sense of, okay, my support points, right? What is this all about? Basically, the organic posture comes from pushing away from support points, right? That's neural development. We push away from our support points, and look what happens automatically to my upper quarter posture. is my shoulder blades go where they're supposed to go, my rib cage goes down, I get a lower center of gravity, and I'm keeping my pubic bone as a major support point here. So she was practicing that, right? So she knew about that pubic bone support. So I said, okay, now when we do this exercise, what are we going to do? We're going to imagine that we are doing our press up, and we're going to imagine our pubic bone is going to connect to the floor. Oh, she said, that changes the exercise completely. Exactly. Okay? This little hinge swings a big door, right? Little hinges swing big doors. That one little bitty movement, it's almost like an intention, almost imperceptible, right? It can be from here to here, almost imperceptible, but it makes a huge difference in the way it feels whenever she goes through and she practices and gets good hip extension. Why do I work on hip extension? Because what is walking? What is hiking, right? What am I doing? I'm just taking a piece of gait, the hip extension pattern, right? And I'm just kind of over-accentuating it and training it in a nice, calm way so as to improve her hip extension pattern so she doesn't have to use all of these muscles up here every time she takes a step. Then, so that's one thing, just training a lunge, right? Training a lunge. But what about actually putting it into practice while she's walking or while she's hiking? Well, what do you have to do in that case? You have to say, okay, whenever I walk, I'm going to just always imagine that my pubic bone is connected. Not really connected to anything, is it? But it's the intention. Eidetic perception. The ability to use imagery is so powerful in rewiring the way the nervous system works. My pubic bone is forward, automatically, everything comes into shape. That it's so natural and so beautiful and so organic. Whenever you do that, you keep that pubic bone gently forward. And when you walk, it's not like you're tucking your tail and going like this, right? You're just taking a step and imagining that your pubic bone is coming forward. So that's where she is. We'll see how she does next time she comes in. Hopefully she can, challenge herself with a big hike. But that's it, guys. Those are some great progressions, and all of those tips everybody can use and everyone can benefit from. But the bottom line is it comes back to those primitive support zones and points that we use. So it's important to practice pushing away from those, which is what the course does, right? And get in there now before price goes up. Is we learn those support points, we learn and train the nervous system to push away from those support points, and then we spill that over into our daily activities, because when it becomes a moment-to-moment intention, that's when the brain really integrates it into your nervous system, right? Or integrates it into your life. And that's what it's all about, is integration of these principles into your activities of daily living. Because, if you do your exercises, you get 30 minutes of doing exercises, that doesn't stick with you unless you bring your attention and intention to how you do what you do when you do it. And when you do that stuff, guys, that feeling of pushing away gives you, it's the anti-gravity. It is anti-gravity, right? That sense of pushing away coordinates everything perfectly to keep you upright. Anti-gravity, in line with gravity. As soon as you don't think about it and you get into a pattern of maybe your back starts falling this way, you start falling this way, your chin starts going forward. Now, this is not anti-gravity, this is gravity getting you. This is gravity get you syndrome, right? But, just like, what am I going to do? Imagine I'm pressing away. Oh, look what happens. It's an intention, right? So try that, guys. Let me know what you think about this. If you try this and you've struggled with headaches, and you start doing your foam angels, and you start learning, start doing that press up maneuver, just practicing that and starting breathing down into your center. Just do the fundamental series and let me know how you do, right? And if you've had success with any of the stuff I've taught, before in the past, and I'd love to hear what kind of results you're getting. So share those in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Until I see you next time, please keep thinking good thoughts and eating good food, and keep moving and keep pushing away from your support points, just like a child. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.